Hello and welcome to the Daily Millwall on Good Friday, April the 18th, 2025. Today was not a Good Friday and wow, quite an insane day today, very insane day. So let me tell you, you sit down, relax, and I'll tell you all about the insanity. Let's go ahead. So the result was a heavy defeat. And there were mitigating circumstances for such a defeat. Yet again, we conceded 4 goals to Blackburn Rovers in a game that involved going for the playoffs. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. So this is a match report from millfc.co.uk. Mill suffered Blackburn defeat. Mill were beaten 4-1 by Blackburn Rovers in the Sky Bet Championship on Good Friday. Mihailo Ivanovic quickly equalised Dom Hyam's opener in Lancashire at the break, at the back end of the first half, but a further strike from Sondre Tronstad ensured the home side would go into the break in front. By the hour mark, Blackburn were 4-1 up as Callum Britton scored and Tronstad added his second. Alex Neil made 4 changes at Ewood Park, 2 enforced, as Lucas Jensen and Joe Bryan missed out through injury, whilst Luke Cundall and Adomi Umaku were dropped to the bench. Wes Harding, Femi Aziz and Josh Coburn were drafted into the starting 11, whilst George Evans made his Mill debut between the sticks. Yes, George Evans, the 19-year-old goalkeeper for the under-21s, who has not played in a professional game so far for anyone. He did go out on loan to Sutton, but that I don't think that counts. And we'll talk about that in a minute. Jacob Rozwosny occupied the substitute goalkeeper spot with Sean Hutchinson and Ben Drake also on the bench. So Wes Harding. So he played because he went to right back and Ryan Leonard went to left back, which, Ryan Leonard looked like a fish out of water. He wasn't very good at all. To be fair, Ben Drake is a left-footed, he is a left back, he's the left back for the under-21s. So, I mean, why would you scupper the performance of Ryan Leonard as a right back? And, you're going to play the under-21 goalkeeper, might as well play the fucking under-21 left back as well. Why not? Put square pegs in square holes. Yeah, so, I mean, but instead they moved him over and then put Wes Harding at right back. And for the life of me, I don't know why George Saville didn't put his hand up and say, "Oh, actually, boss, I've played left back 2 or 3 times for Northern Ireland." Because I believe he has. I've seen it with my own fucking eyes. So he'll do it for Northern Ireland, but he won't do it for Millwall. Instead, they gerrymander Ryan Leonard to go over and play at left back. Blackburn had the first effort on goal mere seconds in. Yeah, they should have scored. They should have been 2-0 up within the first 5 minutes. Mere seconds in, but Yuki Hohashi attempt from outside the box sailed wide of Evans' far post. The Lions then forced 3 corner kicks at the other end in the opening stages, but were unable to force the ball past Balaz Toff. With 5 minutes on the clock, the frantic start continued, with Blackburn perhaps missing a golden chance to take the lead as Callum Britton's cross was headed wide from close range by Hohashi. Tyrese Dolan's header then had to be tipped wide by Evans just moments later. Ivanovic prodded past the far post with 10 minutes on the clock, before Coburn drove into the area from wide and forced Rovers' defence into a block. I think Ivanovic was trying to cross it. They said, I watched it on Sky Sports Plus, which was annoying, because as soon as Blackburn scored, the commentators lost their shit. It's like, you do know this is for Sky Sports, yeah? This isn't Blackburn Rovers fan channel. This is for Sky Sports. You're supposed to have some kind of impartiality, but the 2 geezers that was doing it were both Northern, so of course. Yeah, they said that Ivanovic tried to shoot. Like, no, he tried to chip it over to to the back post for someone to run onto, and no one did. Ivanovic prodded past the far post with 10 minutes on the clock before Coburn drove into the area from wide and forced Rovers' defence into a block. Aziz had a strike blocked and Ivanovic's header was tipped away by Toff as an eventful first half in front of goal continued, with George Honeyman the next to have a go at the midway point, Toff equal to his deflected effort. 3 minutes from the break, however, Rovers were to take the lead as a cross was powered into the net by the head of Iron. Merely 2 minutes later, though, the lines were level as Billy Mitchell found Aziz, who crossed for Ivanovic to poke home his 10th goal of the campaign. Billy Mitchell found Aziz, who crossed for Ivanovic. Well, that's... I know we lost 4-1, but I mean, you can write out better than that. So what happened was... Billy Mitchell found it out to Aziz, who had a lot of work to do, and he did. He did a lot of work to run down the left wing. He was way back. Got past the man, flips it into the 6-yard box, and Denor's there. And Denor back heels it, which, confuses the Blackburn defenders, and guess who's there? Ivanovic. Boom. So, there you go. The first half action wasn't done there though. However, Rovers took advantage of a loose ball inside the box to slam home through Tronstad in stoppage time. Yeah, so we're under the cosh. We've got problems with injuries and stuff. The team's, we've basically got a non-league goalkeeper in goal. Certainly not a player who's, no offence to him, he's not a championship standard goalkeeper. And we managed to get it back to 1-1, and then straight away we concede. It's like, do you not understand what's going on here? We're not going to be keeping a clean sheet. In fact, we're probably going to be conceding quite a few goals. You can't do this. You can't do that. You have to take our chances. We have to outscore them. It's going to be that type of game. There was a chance for a second Millwall equaliser shortly into the second half, but following Aziz's cross, Coburn could not gain a clean connection on his head as the ball skewed wide. That proved to be pivotal, as on the 50 minutes, Rovers were able to claim their third after a sweeping move forward ended with Britain's effort nestling into the back of the net. George Saville replaced Mitchell just moments before Ashley headed into the roof of the net in search of Blackburn's fourth, which duly arrived in the 59th minute as a defensive lapse allowed Tronstad to strike home his second of the game from the edge of the penalty area. Imaku and Kundal were brought into play just past the hour as the head coach looked for further attacking options. Well, I mean, Kundal, don't look there, mate. With an Aaron Connolly following suit with 15 minutes remaining, but the game fizzled out with no further goal action to note apart from Imaku's shot in injury time, which was saved by Toff as the line slipped to a loss at Ewood Park. Before one thing I forgot to mention, because I didn't catch it in real time, didn't really see, their second goal was just like pings full blast at the goal, and it went in. I didn't notice, but it was pointed out because you saw Andy Marshall arguing with the ref at the start of half time in the tunnel, and it was pointed out in slow motion that it was handball because the Blackburn player was on the ground near the penalty spot. The ball comes out to the edge of the area, and the player pings it towards the goal, and the player that's on the ground, he goes to kind of moan, puts his arms up in frustration about, oh, I've just been fouled. And as he lifts his arm up, that's when the ball comes in. It hits his hand just ever so slightly and deflects past the George Evans in goal and goes into the goal for their second goal. And I think it was very slight, and it was one of those that I think the ref was saying that he didn't see it at the time because it was so quick. It was a quick shot. But it's one of those ones that, if there was VAR, the VAR would have caught it and they would have changed the thing of the thing. They would have taken that goal off, but I don't like VAR, so I would rather we didn't have VAR, even if it meant that goal didn't stand. So if we get the team up, so the starting 11 was George Evans in goal, Harding, Crammer, Cooper, Leonard, Mitchell, Honeyman, Denor, Aziz, Ivanovic, Coburn. The subs bench was Hutchinson, Connolly, Wintle, Langstaff, Imaku, Saville, Cundle, Drake and Przewozny. And the subs that came on was Saville on for Mitchell in the 56th minute, Imaku on for Denor in the 64th minute, Connolly on for Aziz in the 73rd minute, and Cundle on for Ivanovic in the 64th minute. Don't know why Mitchell got taken off so early. He wasn't injured. Mitchell did kind of look surprised that he was being taken off. I think it's probably with an eye to saving him for Monday, which is kind of bizarre because obviously I think at that point we were 3-1 down. If I do that, 56 minutes. No, we were 3-1 down. So he takes him off to preserve him, but then he brings on these attacking players. But I guess he took the Denor off as well. I guess that's probably to save him. So yeah, we still went for it after he made the changes, but it's kind of still saving it. 986 Millwall fans up there. What can you say? I mean, we had no chance, and a lot of fans and putting on a brave face saying, "Oh, come on, good luck, George. You can do it." It's like, no, this is the equivalent, to be fair, of you going in goal. Imagine if they just took a healthy, fit Millwall fan, like not one of the fat ones like me, but just a healthy looking one, out of the stand and put him in goal. That's kind of what happened. Again, no offence to George Evans, he's 19 years old. Yeah, he's played under 21 games. Here's the thing with the under 21s: we've got I think we've got like 3 or 4 under 21 goalkeepers, like Przewozny, George Evans. We've got Dylan Adai, and like I said, with the under 21s, you can play overage goalkeepers. So, it's not as if he's been playing under 21 football week in, week out, and he's like the number one under 21 goalkeeper. Jude Connell Truman's playing in a few of them, and Liam Roberts is playing in a few of them as well. So he's not even getting game time for the under 21s. He's been thrown in at Division 2, the largest, the 5th largest division in Europe, after the Big Five or the Big Four, It's it was just insane. It's insane. And like I said, I saw these people going, we can still do this, go on, George. But as soon as this team was announced, I ran off to Ladbrokes and I put a week's wages on Blackburn to win that game. Like, it was nailed on. It was 2.37, and I went back later just before kickoff to check what the price was, and it had only gone down to 2.2. So, like, I don't know if bookmakers don't really care anymore. They're not bothered that they didn't, or no, like, maybe nobody realised that there's literally a non-professional player that's making his debut in a game at the top end of the championship. Like, man, like, I don't know how more people just didn't lump on this. Yeah, and I'm kind of kicking myself because I'm wishing I'll put like a month's wages on it, but bet responsibly and all that. So yeah, crazy, and Here's how crazy it was. When I was following it live, obviously checking the cash out, which, when it's, even though it was like 4-1 to them, the cash out was stupid. Might as well just wait. Around about the 78th minute on Ladbrokes Live in play, they stopped taking bets on Millwall to win the game because the price had got so high that I think the way it works is the liability. It was like 120 to 1. It went up. It was like 95 to 1, 100 to 1, and it got so high that they suspended betting. All you could bet on was the draw. I was like, man, what an insane day. Insane. Let's have a look at some pictures from the game. This is from millfc.co.uk. Millwall travelled to Blackburn Rovers in the Sky Bet Championship on Good Friday. Selection in the action can be seen in the match gallery below. Yeah, it started raining as well during the game. It started off, it wasn't raining, then it was, which is all you need. Ivanovic's goal, and then straight away concede. Fantastic. And we did look very disjointed. I think the players knew in their hearts that this is kind of fucked up, that we don't have any of the first two goalkeepers in goal, and they knew that they were basically playing with one hand tied behind their back. So it's over then. It's over. We lost the game. It's over. It's not mathematically over, but it is realistically over. Probably mathematically if we lose on Monday. So I'll go through the rest of the results from today's games. Derby 0, Luton 1. Coventry 2, West Bromwich Albion 0. Bristol City 2, Sunderland 1. Stoke 2, Sheffield Wednesday 0. Swansea 1, Hull 0. Watford 1, Burnley 2. Preston 1, Queen's Park Rangers 2. Norwich 3, Portsmouth 5. Yeah, we weren't the only crazy game today apparently. Middlesbrough 2, Plymouth 1. Sheffield United 2, Cardiff 0. And Gary Rout's Oxford 0, Leeds 1. The Middlesbrough game was 1-1, and then Middlesbrough scored late on. So all of the results went against us. Middlesbrough won. That was against us. What was the other one? Bristol City won. They were losing. They was 1-0 down. They came back to win 2-1. Obviously, this is both. We wanted both of these teams to drop points. Well, realistically, Coventry more, but they ended up winning. So every single result went against us. So now it's over. If we look at what's coming up, Coventry got to go away to Plymouth. They might drop points there. We got Norwich at home, but do we have a goalkeeper? More on that in a minute. Can we get an emergency loan in? There is some talk that they might be trying to do that. Bristol City are away at Luton. Obviously, Luton are fighting for their lives, but they lost today, didn't they? Yeah, they lost in the 6-pointer against Derby. So how are they going to be feeling today? West Brom at home to Derby County. Obviously, Derby have just won, so that took the pressure off. They don't need to win this game. Sunderland, we're not really bothered about them. Middlesbrough's the one. So Middlesbrough away at Sheffield Wednesday. So again, the results could turn out advantageous to us. But this is how the table looks right now, which I'm going to tell you why our season is over realistically. We're in 9th still. We're on 60 points. We've now got, again, a negative goal difference back to -3 on 60 points. We're now 6 points off the playoffs, and there are 9 points left to play for. So let's take the best case scenario. We win all 3 of our last games. We get 9 points. We end up on 69 points. Nice, 69. Okay. Because of our negative goal difference, that means the teams above us, we can't have them getting to 69. They can get to 68, but they cannot get to 69. As soon as they get to 69, we're gonna be screwed on goal difference. So let's say we do get to 69 points by winning the last 3 games, even though our squad is falling apart through injuries. Right, okay. Let's go from the top. Bristol City. They can only get to 68 points. There's 3 games to go, so they can draw. We need them to draw, lose. Coventry, 66. They can get to 68. So, again, they can draw. They can draw, and lose. If they win a game, they immediately go to 69 points. It's good night Vienna from us. We can't do it. Mathematically, it's good night Vienna. At the moment, it's just realistically. Middlesbrough, they can get 5 points, so we don't need them to lose, because the best case scenario for us, again, is if they get to 68 points, so they don't get to 69. So what that would entail is a win, a draw, and a draw. So again, we don't need them to lose. And with West Brom, because they're on the same points as us, they're on 60 points, but they do have a better goal difference. All we need them to do is drop 1 point. So they can win, and they can draw. Okay? And then we have to win. And that's how we can still do it. But again, realistically, we get into, as soon as, there's 3 games to go. As soon as Bristol City win a game, we can't catch them. As soon as Coventry win a game, we can't catch them. It's over. So we need to win against Norwich on Monday, and then we need Coventry to lose at Plymouth and Bristol City to lose at Luton. Not beyond the realms of possibility, 2 away games, but then we go to the next game and we still need them to lose again. So there you go. That's how it works. If we just, while we're here, if we look forward to the week after, obviously we're at home to Swansea, I believe. Are we? Yeah, there. So who have they got? Coventry away to Luton, and Bristol City is on the Monday away at Leeds. Interesting. So again, they've got 2 away games in a row. Okay. Not beyond the realms, but it is, I'm going to wait. But I think it's over. I think we're done. We don't have a goalkeeper to play in goal. So, it's done. And talking about that, the goalkeeper, what do we do? Now, emergency goalkeeper loan, it has been mentioned. So how did this come about? What's happened to Jensen? We don't know yet. There are rumours that it's his ACL. We're not sure. But I saw on the television that the 3 under-21 goalkeepers were all at the game. See, the one that started, the one that was on the bench, and Dylan Dyer was there as well. He was walking in with the team. So, emergency goalkeeper loan. This is from the EFL regulations, the EFL handbook this season. Page 150 of 356, regulation 58. Emergency goalkeeper loan. If all the professional goalkeepers at a club are unavailable as a result of having been certified by an independent medical practitioner as being unfit to play, so that's not the club doctor. They have to basically get a sick note being suspended, having been called up to play for his National Association representative matches in accordance with the requirements of FIFA as laid down from time to time, or such other exceptional circumstances as defined by the league, and any such determination will be final and binding and not subject to review in accordance with Section 10 of the regulations. And what that means is, if we go down, it'll tell you examples of exceptional circumstances based on prior examples which they've granted for the purposes of Regulation 58 1.4 are bereavement from close family members, childbirth, in custody, as in arrested, or suspended by a club pending the outcome of criminal investigations or proceedings. Okay, so has Jensen been arrested? I don't know. Can he? I don't know. So if all of your professional goalkeepers are missing because of this, and we only have 2 professional goalkeepers at the club, Jensen and Roberts. Conal Truman was there. They let him go to MK Dons, and he played a few games, conceded quite a few goals, and is now the number 2 at MK Dons. A club may register either before or after the deadlines laid down in Regulation 44.2 and 44.3, which I believe is the basically transfer deadline day rules, a further goalkeeper on a short-term basis in accordance with the following provisions. A professional goalkeeper is a goalkeeper, excluding any goalkeeper registered as a non-contract player, who has been named in the starting 11 on 5 or more occasions by any club, or any EFL club, or any Premier League club in any matches in the relevant league or first team cup competitions other than the EFL Trophy, and or any other club in the professional league in that club's home association, by way of example, any division of the Scottish Professional Football League, or Serie A, Serie B, or Serie C. Okay. And then it gives us the thing that I mentioned before. So George Evans, if we'll skip out on that in a minute, and we'll go here. So George Evans was on loan at Sutton United. I believe they are a professional team, but they are not in a professional league. And if we go down, this is their stats for this season. He was on loan there. He's played once in the league, 2 in a cup, which is not, I don't know if that was like the FA Trophy or something. In total, he's played 3 games for them. So even if they were professional, which I don't believe that discounts, it's not even 5 games. So he's only played 3 games in professional football, in men's professional football. 3 games. That's it. He did play, like I said, he played for a team in Horsham, not Horsham FC, but another team, on loan last season. But I believe they're way down there, like step 7 or something like that. So, if we go back, the club must supply to the league written evidence to demonstrate the circumstances set out in Regulation 58.1 apply, together with the appropriate forms for his registration, and the league having confirmed that the circumstances conform to the provisions of this regulation. In respect of any fixture played on a weekday when the office is normally open at least 3 hours before the match, or in respect of any other fixture, 12 noon on the day of the match, or at least 3 hours before the match, whichever is earlier. So we kick off at 3 o'clock, I believe, against Norwich on on Bank Holiday Monday. So that would still be 12 noon, though. So they have until 12 noon on Monday to register an emergency loan player. But here's the thing. Does that just mean an emergency loan player? Can you still sign an out of contract player? Can you do that? I don't know. Maybe it's in here somewhere. I haven't looked for it. Medical evidence cannot be accepted from anyone connected to the club, nor is it acceptable to obtain a report from the club's doctor, from another club's club doctor. So it's literally from someone outside of the football system. Goalkeepers that have been deemed unavailable cannot be named on a team sheet during the loan period. So that means, even though he's injured, you can't put Liam Roberts on the bench. Goalkeepers on an emergency goalkeeper loan may be recalled by their parent club during the period of the loan in exceptional circumstances and subject to the approval of the league. Clubs should be aware that the Premier League does not permit Premier League clubs to send goalkeepers on 7-day emergency loans into the EFL. So even if we were to get an emergency loan, where are we going to get them from? Because we can't get it from the Premier League. So it need what? A Championship player? A League One player? A League Two player? Like, who are we bringing in? This is an ultimate piss take, because Premier League clubs, with all the money they've got, they've been signing up all these goalkeepers. They have like 4 goalkeepers in their squads for like training games and stuff. Like 4 top level goalkeepers. And they've just been throwing money at them to take them away from, being first team players at other clubs lower down. And we bend over backwards for them, saying, oh, we're going to scrap FA Cup replays and this and that and all of this stuff. And they won't even let their goalkeepers go out on emergency loan. Why is that? What's that about? Man. The period of any emergency goalkeeper loan shall be for a period of 7 days, inclusive of the starting day and finishing day. May be renewed for 7 days at a time, subject to compliance with Regulation 58.2 in respect of each proposed renewal. So again, because it's on a Monday, that's going to be a problem if the players do come back fit. So let's say we do get someone in on loan on Monday. That's a 7-day loan. He has to be until next Monday, but we got a game next Saturday. So if Roberts or Thingy is fit enough to play on the bench, they can't, because the rules say you can't have the player, like, you're being allowed to loan in the emergency goalkeeper, but that means you can't put these other goalkeepers on the bench. So then we have to send this guy back from his emergency loan so we can put Jensen or Roberts back in goal, or we just have to play with the emergency goalkeeper in 2 games minimum. So he has to play on Monday and he has to play on Saturday, and George Evans will probably go on the bench on Saturday, because the 7 days runs from Monday to Monday. What else have we got? May be renewed for 7 days at a time, subject to compliance with Regulation 58.2 in respect of each proposed renewal. Any goalkeeper registered under the provisions of this regulation must be included in the starting 11 on the team sheet and must start the match. Again, you cannot loan a player in to sit on the bench because it's an emergency loan. If it's an emergency loan, he needs to play, because otherwise there ain't no emergency, is there, bruv? That ain't it. The provisions of Regulation 55.4.2 shall not apply to an emergency goalkeeper loan. Okay, I don't know what that means, but again. So this is just about goalkeeper loans. I don't know what it's about, like players that are out of contract, because I think there is a registration cut off, because obviously otherwise players would just sign players. It used to be in the old days, like the 3rd week of March or something like that, so I don't know if we can still. Because then here is a list of goalkeepers in the Championship. I don't think it's a complete list, because I think it's only goalkeepers that have played in. If I click on this, will it bring them all up? No, that didn't do anything. Okay, let's bring that back then. This is a list of goalkeepers that have played some amount of time in the for Championship clubs this season. So which one of these are we going to get? Can we get anyone in? I mean, Jordan Archer, do you want him back on loan? And why would any of these clubs loan a player to us for emergency? I mean, maybe Oxford United, Gary Rowett. Hello, hi Gary. Remember us? We're the ones who called you a cunt and told you to fuck off. And because you can see here, Oxford United only have one goalkeeper listed, But then why would they put themselves at a disadvantage to lend us their second? Do they have a third choice goalkeeper, or like us, is their third choice goalkeeper the under-21 goalkeeper? Then why would they send us their second choice goalkeeper and put an under-21 goalkeeper on the bench themselves? Well, the answer to that is money. And in terms of that, is there any clubs that owe us money that we can write off if they loan us their goalkeeper on an emergency loan? I don't know, because I think the only players that we sold recently are Romain Esse. I guess Connell Truman. Did MK Dons pay anything for Connell Truman? Can we write some of that off if they loan him back? Now, he's their number 2 goalkeeper. He was on the bench in the game that yesterday or today, in the game today. So again, he's their number 2 goalkeeper. Why would they loan him back to us? I think they're like safely mid-table. So, what do we do? What can we do? Bizarrely, again, I don't know if this how we can sign players who are out of contract. Bart Biakowski. Does he want to come back? Can he come back for 1 game, 2 games? Or Ipswich, he was at Ipswich, Norwich, coming back for that. But has he been keeping himself fit? I don't know. Would he come back? I don't know. Would he be better than George Evans in goal? Almost certainly, 100%. And in terms of other goalkeepers that are out of contract that may be of some interest, Darren Randolph, but he's West Ham, Charlton. I don't know if we'll be up for that. Again, I don't know if we can sign out of contract players. I think are we just down to emergency loans, and then that's a very complicated deal. And I mean, Steve Gallen, let's go. Pick up the phone. You've got 2 days to get us an emergency goalkeeper. Do your work, mate. Let's go. This is it. Showtime. So we'll see what they can pull out of their hat. But man, I mean, maybe even Andy Marshall and go. I mean, obviously he's putting a bit of weights, but would he be better than George Evans in goal? And again, I'm not taking the piss out of George Evans, but he's 19 years old. He hasn't played he's just played a professional game of football, and he's conceded 4 goals. So what other options do we have? I think we need to explore them personally, and we'll see how we go. Okay. Now, getting into the other madness that happened today, that for some reason somebody decided it was a good idea to put this out in the morning of the biggest game of the season. Why they did that, I don't know. Again, why would you do that? Why would you do that? That don't make no sense. Unless you're trying to fuck us over. I don't understand. So if you didn't know, check your email box, because the club emailed out a message from Sean Hutchinson to everyone this morning, basically saying that the squad had decided that they were withdrawing Liam Roberts from the Player of the Year award. And that was published, it was all put out on Twitter, like I said, before the game. This was in the morning. And, a distraction that you don't need on the day of the biggest game. So Roberts withdrawn from Millwall's Player Award. This is from bbc.co.uk Sport Football. Millwall withdrawn Liam Roberts from the club's Player of the Season award vote to prevent further abuse of the goalkeeper, says captain Sean Hutchinson. Roberts, 30, was sent off in the Lions FA Cup defeat by Crystal Palace in March after accidentally striking Eagle striker Jean-Philippe Mateta in the head. Mateta required 25 stitches for a minor laceration to his ear, and Roberts was handed an unjust 6-game ban by the Football Association and has not played since, but was an unused substitute for the Sheffield United game. The club said Roberts who had made 6 appearances since moving to Den from Middlesbrough last summer, received online abuse, which he had, and death threats after the challenge. Not just him, but his family as well. Hutchinson, 34, said the players had taken the decision to withdraw Roberts from the award, which is voted for by supporters in order to prevent renewed attention on the event at Selhurst Park. And then they've got the thing here, but I'm going to do that in another thing. So, what's going on here then? When the voting was announced that it was open, a number of people were seen to be saying and suggesting and commenting that they thought we should vote for Liam Roberts, and some people said they had voted for Liam Roberts and that others should vote for Liam Roberts. I voted for Jake Cooper, which is, thank you, Jake, for your mistake today, because that made me look like a fucking idiot voting for you, player of the season. But this is a streak that goes through Millwall, in that I thought it was a token jokey gesture, in that this happened before. People would vote Kevin Braniff for player of the season. They would vote for Jerry Scalak, player of the season. They would vote for other players that hadn't had the best of seasons as player of the season. In some kind of, it was a jokey way. So much so that I believe the club used to list all of the votes that were received. And then, that kind of brought attention, and people thought, okay, I'm going to vote for the dud, so that I can see, oh, look, how many people voted for that. Was me. I voted for that one guy that played that half a game. And then they decided, okay, we're just going to publish the top 3. We're only going to give you the top 3 results. So, what that suggests to me is that Liam Roberts, I don't think he was going to win it, but almost certainly he got enough votes to make it probably, I would say, 3rd, maybe even 2nd. But I think there was a lot of talk between Tanganga and Denor, and he finished, I think Liam Roberts may have finished 3rd in the voting, which is insane, but it's not. I'm pretty sure that the thing was just online, and that's what happens when you just do things online. You get the weird online people, the weirdos who speak into microphones and make YouTube videos. It's an online world, and then you're sidelining, the normies, the normal people who exist in the real world, who don't know that all this stuff is happening online, because you didn't do, a pencil and paper slip voting situation at a home game. Bring back the good old days. So what's happened is that all these people are online. They see someone else say, oh, we should vote for Liam Roberts to show our support. And so many of them have. That he seems to have come 3rd in the Player of the Year award, which would have meant the club would have published, 1, Tanganga, 2, Denor, and 3, Liam Roberts. And then that would have kicked up a thing again. But then, this statement that they put out today has kind of kicked it up again, because there's a story here from bbc.co.uk, and who, the old Saley Dale, Daily Mail, they put up a story as well. Because obviously they get all their shit from Twitter, they don't know what's going on. They don't know why it would cause a problem, because they don't know that Millwall published the top 3. But the post was, so this was the thing that was put out. For some reason, I don't know why, the full image isn't showing up for me here. I don't know if it's showing up for you here. This is on my laptop, so I don't know. So what it's done is cut off the first paragraph on each picture. But for some reason on my phone, on the YouTube channel community tab, it works. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to read it. So this is what Mill emailed out today. I'm going to read it. So, hello everyone. First and foremost, as your club captain, I want to thank you all for the unwavering support throughout this season. You've had the den rocking and made yourselves heard on the road, week in and week out. The lads have responded to that and performed exceptionally well, leaving everything they've got on the pitch to earn some big wins and put us in a fantastic position for the final weeks of the season. There's a brilliant connection between the fans and the players, and long may that continue. As we approach the end of season awards ceremony, which is on Tuesday by the way, and celebrate some of the outstanding performances across the campaign, we want to be open and transparent with you about a subject we've discussed as a squad. Your incredible support for Liam Roberts since the Crystal Palace match has meant the world to him and his family during an incredibly difficult time. We also understand that many of you have continued to show that support by voting for him as Player of the Season. With that in mind, there's concern within the squad that a placed finish for Robbo, as in 1, 2, 3, could unintentionally resurface a lot of external abuse and negative stories directed at him, issues we as a club have been steadily moving forward from. Robbo and his family endured endless, horrific online abuse following the FA Cup tie. He and his wife received death threats. His name was dragged through the headlines and we witnessed a teammate go through a nightmare. We can't allow that to happen again and have shared this view with the Millwall Supporters Club. So, as a united squad alongside the club, we've respectfully informed the Millwall Supporters Club of our decision to withdraw Robbo from the Player of the Season vote. Robbo has, and continues to, emphasise how grateful he is for every bit of support he's received during this time. At the same time, he's mindful not to overshadow others whose effort equally deserve recognition and celebration. I know you'll continue to support him while also understanding and respecting our collective decision. As a team, we don't want this to distract from an exciting final few weeks of the season. A playoff place is at stake, and as always, many will write us off. But remember, we're Millwall and anything is possible. We stick together at this club, and I know you'll continue to back the lads for the final 4 games and beyond. I promise you this squad will give everything to finish the season as strongly as possible for you. Again, why was that put out on the morning of the biggest game of the season? I think I think they're going to announce who's won players probably at the game on Monday, the Norwich game. They might even hand out the awards. Probably not, because it's not the last game of the season. Maybe they won't, because obviously the dinner was on Tuesday. But they did that before, where they announced the winners at the dinner. And a lot of people got pissed off at that, because, it's quite expensive to go to that dinner, to get tickets for that. And it's a very select few people. So to announce it just to them, and then they text it to their mates, and then it trickles out, well, you should really announce it to the fans first, like as many as possible. Who won it? You should do it at a home game first. So I don't know if they're going to do it on Monday. Maybe they will, maybe they won't. I don't know. But they probably already know, because what's this about? How they must know that he might be. They must know the voting then. They must know about the voting, because why has he put this statement out? They must know that Liam Roberts got a load of votes. So, again, just bizarre stuff. Now, we're going to get into it later. Alex Neil gave an injury update report, and apparently he said that Liam Roberts has a hip flexor muscle problem, and I hope he does. I'm not because the alternative is very dark. Hopefully he is injured, and that isn't just the cover for what's for other things that might be going on, because we lost Matty Sarkic last summer to a medical emergency. We lost to the summer before that. We lost JB, to a car accident. And this summer, I don't want to find out that we've got a situation at the club where I can't even say it on YouTube because the video will get age restricted. We'll have. I don't want to have a situation where we've got a player who shuffles off this mortal coil by his own hand because of all the shit that the fucking Daily Mail have stirred up. And if I was Holly Holt and that happens, he should just leave the country, because I would personally grab a baseball bat and try and find that cunt. I hope that, because of Liam Roberts did come back the first game, that his suspension was over. He made it to the Sheffield United bench, but what happened there? That was Sheffield United away. Obviously, did he get stick from the Sheffield United fans? Like, what happened there? Did he feel off? Did he feel weird? Was his head not right? Because we haven't seen him since. And obviously they're saying he's injured. And like I said, I do hope he is injured. And that there isn't other stuff going on, because, this is, Gary Speed's situation. There have been players who have done things. I think mostly shortly after they've stopped playing. Because there's a massive depression. There's a hole in your world that needs filling. But I'm not sure if an active player has done that kind of thing, and I certainly don't want a Millwall player to be doing that at all. There has even been some suggestion. Somebody said, Liam Roberts needs to leave the club because this is going to stick to him while he's at Millwall, and he needs to leave to get it off him. But I'm not sure about that. If he thinks it's best for himself, and then do what you need to do, and good luck. But I do hope there isn't dark shadows behind the scenes that could lead to something bad happening. So yeah, we'll keep an eye on that. So now we get into some post-match comments and some under-21 news. So yeah, the game today, the actual game. This is from londonnewsonline.co.uk, the South London Press. Blackburn punished us more than we punished them. Mill boss Neil on damaging championship loss. Alex Neil bemoaned the poor period across both halves that saw Blackburn all but extinguish Mill's championship playoff hopes. 2 quick-fire goals for the hosts at the end of the first half, sandwiched by a response from Mihailo Ivanovic, meant the Lions trailed 2-1 at the break, but a goal 4 minutes after the restart, followed by a defensive error, that was by Jake Kipper, which enabled Sandro Tronstad to score his second of the match, killed off Mill's chances of taking any points back to SE16. The Lions had chances in the first half and were unfortunate to go in behind, but Neil had no complaints after his side failed to make the most of them, with the result leaving them 6 points over the top 6 with just 3 games remaining. The Scot was asked for his feelings on the game by Millwall TV and said, "Obviously frustrated and disappointed. The first half was really quite open for both teams. We had quite a few opportunities before half time, and they unfortunately got the first goal. We then go and we get the next goal, and then we've got to manage ourselves until half time. They get the goal, which is disappointing, bad timing for us, and then we go in and we talk about making sure we impact the centre half well. We have a great chance, with Josh Coburn, and literally 2 minutes later after that, we concede again, and they start with the ball in the final third, and we don't get as much pressure on the ball as we normally do. And they play through us, and it ends up in the back of the net. From there, you start chasing the game, you're making bad decisions, we play short from a goal kick. God knows why, we give the ball away, and it's a great finish from the lad, but we played a part in that goal, and that sort of put the game to bed early. And that's when he made the substitution, taking Billy off, by the way, after that. The game was really open, in the first half. That suited us, but ultimately we needed to take our chances, and we didn't. Blackburn punished us more than we punished them. And I'm trying to get the balance at the moment between playing good football and turning the ball. And turning the ball in recent games has served us really well. Playing off the second balls and things like that. But their centre-backs are really good, and we didn't get as much change out of them at all. No, we didn't. And this is from southernnews.co.uk. The injury update that I mentioned earlier. Alex Neil reveals why Joe Bryan, why Lucas Jensen, and why Liam Roberts missed Mill's 4-1 loss to Blackburn. southernnews.co.uk. Alex Neil confirmed that Joe Bryan and Lucas Jensen were injured after they missed Mill's 4-1 loss to Blackburn Rovers at Ewood Park today. The duo started the Lions 1-0 win against Middlesbrough last Saturday, April the 12th, but joined Mill's growing injury list earlier this week. So it's interesting, that they were injured quite a while ago, but they didn't leak out. It never leaked out. Nobody knew. Oh, Joe's just a groin injury, Neil said. He's rested all week. He tried it a little bit yesterday morning to see if he could make the game, but he couldn't come through it. Casper was the same, rested all week. He tried it yesterday morning, managed to put himself available for today. And yesterday in training, Lucas unfortunately got injured and he didn't make the match. Backup goalkeeper Liam Roberts also missed the match and has not been part of a matchday squad since Mill's 1-0 win against Sheffield United on April the 8th. With both Roberts and Jensen out, Neil started 19-year-old academy goalkeeper George Evans between the sticks. Robbo's got a hip flexor issue, so he's been out missing for the last couple of games, Neil said. We've got the first two goalkeepers out, left back out, centre back out. It's not been ideal. But having said all that, I still feel as if we had enough opportunities to impact the game today, and we didn't take our opportunities. We did, really. We had two up front, we were going for it. Aziz was playing quite well, but just didn't make the most of what we had going forward. Now, moving on to this, I hope this isn't a duplicate of what we've just heard. southernnews.co.uk, Alex Neil gives his assessment of Mill's 4-1 loss to Blackburn. Alex Neil gave his assessment of Mill's 4-1 loss to Blackburn Rovers today, saying he thought the Lions lacked a little belief after Blackburn scored their third goal, one of the few times he's seen that since he took charge on December the 30th, 2024. Not really like the anomaly being the Plymouth Argyle away game, which was bizarre to watch. I was there in person to watch that one. That was a bizarre one. We actually played quite well in today's game. It's just we had a 19-year-old non-professional goalkeeper in goal. Not that I'm blaming it all on him. It wasn't all on him. It's not all on him. But here's the thing. You need to stop shots on target if you don't have a decent goalkeeper in goal. That includes when Connell Truman was in goal, Because when you don't have a tip-top goalkeeper, any shots on target against the goalkeeper are more likely to end up being a goal. So you need to stop that happening. We didn't. Maybe we should have shut up shop. Maybe we should have played five at the back. Especially if we put the under 21 left back in, and then we had three centre backs, and then Harding on the right back, and we played 5-4-1 or something. We just tried to shut up shop and tried to get away with it. But it was a must-win game. But we went with the two up front, which can't blame it for. But I mean. Ifs and whats and buts and things, but then they recapped the game. Neil was disappointed with how his side conceded some of the goals. Goals change games, Neil said. At the start of the game, I thought they had two opportunities, which I was really disappointed in. Yep, they could have been 2-0 up within 5 minutes. Titus Dolan gets ahead, and with the greatest respect to Titus, he's not particularly big, so I'd expect us to do all that better. The wee lad, the Japanesey one, Yuko, he's up for them. He gets up top for them, gets another header so well. So that was their two opportunities, probably about the first 10, maybe 12 minutes of the game. After that, I thought we probably had 4, maybe even 5 opportunities to score. And they get a block from one that was arrowed into the bottom corner. We've got Mihailo clean through, one-on-one with the goalkeeper. It doesn't pick up the finish, and we had a header. The keeper palms it out, so we certainly had 3 or 4 moments where we could have caused a problem ourselves. Then they get the goal right before half-time. At that point, I thought we responded well. We got the other end, get the next goal, and at that point, I think it's 43, 44 minutes on the clock. See it out to half-time. Any team, any division, get your goal right before half time. Perfect. Get in at half time. Let's have a conversation. Then we concede. Oh, my man. The problem with that is then we need to continue to really push and go for that at the start of the second half. Get the next goal, and we've got the next chance. Josh Coburn, the ball comes in from Femi. It's a great opportunity for him. I don't know if he just doesn't get his feet right and he catches himself under it. But looking back at it, I thought it was a great opportunity for him to get an equaliser. If he does, the goals change and shift the games, don't they? Then the third goal, basically took the game away from us, really. It's really frustrating for me because it starts in the bottom left-hand corner. And I can't remember any time, really, there's maybe one or two that they literally played right through. We had 3 or 4 or 5 opportunities to stop it. And we don't make any good tackles to get in the way of the ball, and they just score. I think it's probably one of the very times that I've been here that we looked as if we lacked a little belief after that one for me. We make a really bad decision to take a short goal kick, basically gift them the ball, pass it straight to them, and then they sit it and they score. And they just took the game from us at that stage, and that's pretty much it over. Obviously, Edoma had the chance later on, probably should score, it doesn't. I just thought 10 minutes before half-time, conceded 2, 10 minutes after half-time, conceded 2, and that basically decided the game. And what you could see is that after they scored their goals, they felt a bit confident. And we were a bit flat naturally, and it made it feel a lot worse than it probably was. Certainly within that sort of period of time. Yeah. Indeed. I mean, shocker, wasn't it? Absolute shocker. Boom. It's certainly not helpful. Alex Neil on how Mill's mounting injury list impacted the Lions during their 4-1 loss to Blackburn Rovers. And this is again from the southernnews.co.uk. Alex Neil said he did not want to give any excuses for why Mill lost 4-1 to Blackburn Rovers today before injuries to starting left-back Joe Bryan and starting goalkeeper Lucas Jensen ahead of the game were mitigating circumstances. Well, the goalkeeper was 100%. 100%. Like, as soon as that was announced, I knew we were going to lose. I didn't even realise that Joe Bryan wasn't starting, because as soon as I saw that the 19-year-old lad was in goal, I was off down the bookies. Another thing he hasn't mentioned, I don't know if he mentions it in this piece, but he doesn't mention about the handball, where, the second goal that they scored, it hits the hand and goes in. He did take a little bit of a deflection. That wasn't visible to the eye, which is why the ref didn't get it, but he doesn't mention that. Obviously, he's not full of excuses, but, if you're missing 2 goalkeepers, come on. You can mention that. That's an excuse to mention. Bryan and Jensen both started the Lions match, a 1-0 win against Middlesbrough on April the 12th, but were ruled out of today's game. Backup goalkeeper William Roberts also missed today's game with a hip flexor injury. Neil was forced into changes, starting 19-year-old academy goalkeeper George Evans between the sticks, starting Wes Harding at right back, and for some reason, moving one of the best players at right back we've had for quite some time, Ryan Linder, to left back. I think the frustrating thing from our point of view, obviously there's a little bit of mitigating circumstances. We've got a young 19-year-old making his debut in goal. We lose Joe yesterday, he doesn't make the game. We then have to put a right back from right back to left back, and Tristan is playing with his 3rd or 4th game at centre back for us. And we've got a back line really that's been cobbled together. But I don't want to, and I haven't certainly from the players' perspective, give us any excuses as to why we should have lost the game. I think we're fully aware that when you change 3, potentially even 4 positions out of your back 5, particularly at this stage of the season with the magnitude of the game that we needed to win, it's certainly not helpful. That's an understatement of the year. However, it wasn't all doom and gloom today. While the under-21 goalkeepers are all at the first team game today, starting on the bench and in the crowd, the under-21s had some good news today. And this is from sofascore.com. Brentford played today, who they are chasing. Brentford lost today. Brentford's game in hand, and they dropped all 3 points. So that means that Mill remain top of the table with 59 points over Brentford, who are on 58, played the same amount of games, and with a plus 30 goal difference. So, huzzah. And if we go to, I've got to click on this. And we go down today, 1 o'clock kickoff, Watford 2, Brentford 1. And in fact, Brentford were 1-0 up in that game. And they conceded 2 goals and 1 in injury time. Jonathan Lawson in the 93rd minute. Thank you very much, sir. So there you go. Now there's a game on Monday that's of interest to us, is Bournemouth under 21s, and that's because they have a game in hand on us and they're only 4 points behind. So they are playing Ipswich, who are just below them. So we hope they can do something in that game, but there's a big gap between those two teams, but you never know. Obviously, if Bournemouth can drop some points, that would take the pressure off of Millwall. But, it is a 4-horse race to some extent for these 2 places at the top of the table. Obviously, ideally, Millwall would want to finish top of the table. But if they do finish second, I think the northern teams, they're not really that strong. So, shouldn't be anything to be scared about in terms of playing them if we do finish second in the table. And we'll probably play Sheffield United. Mill's next under 21 game is on St George's Day, Wednesday the 23rd of April, 2 p.m. kickoff at Robins High Performance Centre, Bristol City. I believe you can go to that. Well, I'll let you know if you can. After that, the week after, it's Wigan Athletic away at the ground that used to be called the JJB. Then the last game of the season, Hull City at the Den, Friday the 2nd of May. And there you go. And on that note, thank you for watching, and don't cry.